Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Financial analyst reacts to Finance Minister's budget presentation Tuesday. JTA calls for additional security for troubled schools in Westmoreland. And later in sports, Jamaican women look to be unbeaten in regional Super 50 versus Guyana. Thank you for joining us. I'm Shamela Pula and here are the details. A new commissioner of police has been selected to replace Major General Anthony Anderson. General Anderson's tenure ends next week. At this morning's post-cabinet press briefing, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang said the Police Service Commission has confirmed Dr. Kevin Blake as the new police commissioner.
This morning, I received a copy of a letter appointing Dr. Kevin Blake as the new police commissioner, effective March 19, 2024. Means the current commissioner's terms of contract ends on Monday the 18th.
Dr. Chang says the selection was made after careful consideration of several deputy commissioners who were interested in the position.
The level in the force where the promotional process is such that the individuals who rise to the top all have the capacity to go forward. And we had 4 deputies who I think were excellent police officers. They were interviewed and the Service Commission identified Dr. Kevin Blake, who is among the younger deputy commissioners, as the best prospect to lead the force at this point in time.
Reactions this afternoon to the announced increase in the income tax threshold by Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke in Parliament Tuesday. In opening the 2024-2025 budget debate, Dr. Clarke made several proposals to benefit the Jamaican people. For financial analyst Dennis Chung, Dr. Clarke was fair in his presentation.
The fact of the matter is that, when you talk about linking the macro with the micro, I think he did a very good job with that and showing that, listen, if we're going to move forward, if you're going to grow a tree, for example, you have to build the roots. And that's what we've been doing over the past years. But there's so much that the finance minister can do, You see, what Jamaicans are used to in the past is that they're used to the finance minister coming to the country and say, I'll give you $100 million or $200 million. That's not the role of what a finance minister is supposed to, because if we do that, we keep getting caught in the spiral of inflation and debt.
Mr. Chung was speaking on the morning agenda on Power 106. He also gave this suggestion to Dr. Clarke.
Between ensuring fiscal stability and also saying to the country, hey, this is what we can afford, and removing some of those productivity impediments, which is what I thought the main purpose of the presentation was, and the main theme, that he's saying, listen, we can get more efficient if we remove these procurement stumbling blocks and make it more efficient.
The Jamaica Teachers Association, JTA, is raising concern about threats of violence in some schools in Westmoreland. The association's president, Leighton Johnson, is calling for additional security at the schools affected. Kalisha Williams tells us more.
On Tuesday, parents and guardians were told to pick up their children early at the Grangeville Primary and High Schools in Westmoreland. This after a threat was reportedly issued to some parents of students attending the Grangeville Primary School. President of the Jamaica Teachers Association, Leighton Johnson, says other schools have been affected by the issue. Mr. Johnson says the situation is having a severe psychological impact on students, teachers, and parents.
We're urging the Ministry of Security to ensure that additional police officers are deployed to schools in these areas, and for the Ministry of Education to ensure as best as possible that additional security measures can be implemented in these schools until this violent flare-up subsides. We also urge school administrators and the boards to take the necessary decisions that will secure life and not jeopardize any stakeholder.
Mr. Johnson says there are students in Westmoreland who are now gearing up for PEP. He says the issue of violence is now affecting the students preparing for the exams, as well as the City and Guilds mock exams later this month.
Schools currently are in high gear in the preparation for the PEP performance task, which will take place on the 20th and 21st of March. And we also know that several schools in the area are also preparing for the City and Guilds mock exams. So we are calling for members of the society who are engaged in this kind of activity to desist from these violent confrontations, so that we can have peace within the area and to ensure that as best as possible, the citizens of Westmoreland and our schools are able to function in harmony.
Kalisha Williams, TVJ News.
The government is currently working out a plan to legally receive orphans affected by the civil unrest in Haiti. Last week, National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang said Jamaica has agreed to accommodate orphans from Haiti as the social conditions continue to deteriorate. Foreign Affairs Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith gave an update on the matter at Wednesday's post-cabinet press briefing.
Some progress in that way. Dr. Chang, of course, whose remit includes immigration and the immigration rules and the immigration authority, is leading that process and will advise us further in due course. I just really wanted to clarify that, because it starts another set of narratives of concerns about movement of people, and Dr. Chang will also in due course also update on discussions in which the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade is participating about how persons moving illegally are also to be treated. Again, that's an immigration matter, but we are part of those discussions. He will advise of an update in due course.
There are no plans for a ceasefire soon in the Hamas and Israeli conflict. Israel ambassador to Jamaica, Razlan Abu Rukun, was a guest on TVJ's Smile Jamaica this morning. On October 7, Hamas gunmen stormed into Israel, killing some 1,200 people and taking several others hostage. Israel retaliated, entering the Palestinian Gaza Strip, resulting in a conflict that has seen thousands, including children, being killed. Since then, there have been calls for a ceasefire to end the war between the two countries. But according to Israel's ambassador to Jamaica, Razlan Abu Rukun,
when we had the ceasefire, okay, in 6th of October, we had the ceasefire. And then what happened? So if we have a lot of people say, okay, ceasefire now. We say, okay, we want to have a ceasefire. But first of all, we have to liberate the Israeli kidnapped. And now we have 134 Israelis. And also to be assured that this day, 7th of October, will not happen again.
Ambassador Abu Rukun says Israel does not have anything against the Palestinians. He says the issue is with Hamas, the Palestinian militant group.
When we speak about Hamas, we have to understand who is Hamas. Hamas is a very extreme radical Islamic movement with very extreme radical ideology. Now, in the main charter is the destruction of the state of Israel. No matter what we do, or a lot of people say, oh, why you can't speak about peace with Hamas? Well, you can't speak about peace with someone that want to kill you, that want to destroy you.
More than 29,000 Palestinians have been killed since the war started. But despite this, he insists there is no other way to deal with the conflict other than what they're doing now.
If someone else will have another way from the international community, from the UN, any ideas how to end the government of Hamas in Gaza, we'll be happy to hear that. We are not happy to see what is happening to the innocent people in Gaza, to the Palestinians. But we have to understand that this war was forced on us by Hamas. And it's also a strategic thing. I mean, any country in the world will not accept this kind of attack.
Meanwhile, Ambassador Abu Rukun is in Jamaica for a few days to build bilateral ties between the two countries. He says there is a great potential for cooperation between Jamaica and Israel. It's time for a break. Stay with us. More stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. The Church Corner landfill in Morant Bay, St. Thomas, was again on fire early this morning. There have been at least 5 fires at the dump since the start of the year, Amoy Harriet reports.
Early this morning, the eastern section of the Church Corner landfill in St. Thomas was engulfed in flames, sending smoke through neighboring communities. The fire started sometime before 4 o'clock and went on for hours. TVJ News understands that there was no available units from the fire department to respond to the blaze.
We only have 1 unit in the parish now. The Morant Bay truck is out of order. So while the fire started, we would have been in Port Morant area extinguishing a fire.
Authorities have not yet established a cause for the fire, but it is one of several that has occurred at this dump since the start of the year. Assistant Superintendent with the Jamaica Fire Brigade, Desmond Morris, says he believes the frequent fires is as a result of poor management.
The managing of the dump itself, for instance, the compacting of dirt would also eliminate oxygen from reaching the fuel and the heat. Also, you should have like periodical dumping. So those are 2 of the things. Periodical wetting to keep down the temperature.
A meeting got underway late Wednesday morning between the fire department and the National Solid Waste Management Authority to discuss solutions for the recurrent fires. Amoy Harriet, TVJ News.
It's now time for the Business Minute.
Jamaica earned 8.9% less money from export of goods in the manufacturing industry for January to October last year. The Statistical Institute of Jamaica says the country made $733 million for the period. This was due to lower exports from the other manufactured products subcategory. Exports of other manufactured products decreased by 19.4% to $471.3 million, compared with $518 million for January to October 2022. Fewer refined petroleum products were exported during the period. Further afield, an alarming report from Gladstone AI suggests artificial intelligence may pose a danger to humanity. The U.S. State Department commissioned the report. The authors cautioned that AI poses a serious catastrophic security risk to the country unless the federal government steps in to avert a disaster. The report says the time is running out for the government to act. The findings were based on interviews with 200 people, including top executives from leading AI companies. The company's top executive tells CNN while artificial intelligence has many positive attributes, it could also become menacing and uncontrollable. And that's it for the Business Minute. I'm Kalisha Williams.
And here's a preview of what's coming up in this evening's health report. In this evening's health report, we'll look at kidney disease.
We are close to international standard when it comes to treatment for chronic kidney disease and end-stage renal disease. We have 2 forms of treatment. One, it enclosed into dialysis, and the other one, kidney transplant. Dialysis includes peritoneal dialysis, and the other one is hemodialysis, and the other one is kidney transplant. Currently in Jamaica, we do have transplant, but it is not as where we want it to be as yet, but we are slowly getting there.
That's a health report in Primetime News at 7. And now for today's Healthy Living tip. quit smoking, or don't start. Limit how much alcohol you drink. If you have diabetes, stay in your target blood sugar range as much as possible. And during flu season, get your flu shot. Time now for the top regional and international stories.
In the region, the Guyana Teachers Union, GTU, says negotiations over salary increases for its members with the Ministry of Education have collapsed after government representatives refused to consider the 2019-2023 proposed multi-year agreement. The GTU is seeking a 25% salary increase for 2019 and a 20% wage hike for each of the years from 2020 to 2023. But the government says the 2024 budget does not have the fiscal space to accommodate the retroactive payment of salaries for teachers during the period 2019 to 2023. On the international scene, at least 2 people are dead and 26 others injured following a suspected gas explosion in northern China earlier today. The blast occurred at a ground floor restaurant of a 4-story building in a residential area east of the capital, Beijing. 3 other buildings were severely damaged. And the U.S. House is expected to vote today on a bill that would potentially prohibit the use of TikTok in the country. If the bill is enacted, TikTok's parent company ByteDance would have 5 months to sell the China-linked social media platform. Now, U.S. officials say Chinese intelligence laws make it possible for Beijing to collect users' information from ByteDance. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Amoy Harriet.
We head to a quick break. When we come back, we'll have your midday sports report with Jordan Ford.